Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Carol. Thanks so much for joining me today. Okay, would you like to learn a new tarot spread? Would you like to learn a tarot spread that really can be used in two ways? How you feel at the moment or what you think you need to do as far as a layout with the cards that's going to help your clients. Well, this is a wonderful 6-card tarot spread that you can do just that. And today I will share with you step by step on how we can achieve one or both. So let's go ahead and get started. Of course, I am using the Universal Rider-Waite cards. As I said earlier, this is a 6-card layout. And what I'd like to begin with, for you to get a visual, is exactly what the cards mean when we lay them out. So let's go ahead and do that right now. The first card is going to be, of course, on top of the significator. I always like to have a focus point, an energy point. So I take out the significator. And the first card is your inner emotional state at the present time. So this is where, again, you can tap into that energy immediately by that first card on top of you. Now, the second card is laid across traditionally like we do in the Celtic cross spread, and it represents the outer state, the source of resistance at the present time. So we have two cards that are in the now, that are in the moment. That is the energy around you. The third card goes right under, again, really following the traditional Celtic cross spread, is that which I am not aware of. I reject it, or it's limiting me in my life. The fourth card, there's where we have knowledge to apply or unnecessary baggage to get rid of. The card that we take out will depict that. Card number 5, there's our opportunities. What you are putting out openly, your energy, and what's on your mind, what's in your mind. And then the last card, of course, is the outcome. What is gained or action to take. How you may fail or succeed is depicted in this card. Okay, so we will be laying out those cards. And as you can see, we can certainly get to the heart of the matter. And we'll go back to these in a few minutes. But here is where I want to give you a visual, the symbology that I alluded to earlier when I said we can get a lot more information from this tarot spread by the symbols it represents. And that's what I want to cover here with you right now. Very simply, you can see that we are talking about position number 3 as the unconscious. And if you recall, it was that which I am not aware of. It's unconscious as the unknown, the rejected, or what I use to limit myself, but I'm not aware that I'm using it. So that's why it is here on the bottom as the unconscious, and this graph has these arrows indicating that what is unconscious, what is, as Jung coined, the shadow, affects card number 1, card number 2, as well as what you consciously put out, card number 5. So you can see that if we want to do a little bit more work, we can look at all the aspects of what is revealed when we lay out the spread with card number 3. and how it affects our present and our state of mind. You also see on this graph the words past to your future. Okay, so we know that when we were working with card number 4 and its description, it's the knowledge that you can apply through your experiences that you went through in the past. Or this card is saying, get rid of this baggage. This is holding you back. And it is also affecting how you project yourself, go about your life, and it is a result of the energy that will focus into your future, because many of us, you know, myself included, we usually live in the past, and in the future, very rarely do we live in the present. And if we focus on the past, or we focus too much in the future, then we can only create that which was created. And if that is joyful and harmonious and balanced, that's beautiful. But if it is painful, hurtful, restricting in that way, then of course it is played out, and it's something that we would like to heal and let go of. So we're looking at this part of the spread going from the past to the future and helping us understand how we can take the positiveness that this card is displaying, work it through our heart, and then project it in creating a different future, hopefully a brighter, more aware future. Now, what is more subtle about this particular layout is also what I like to call the polarity. Okay, so what is polarity? Well, basically, it's said that there's a source of energy that is in everything. Everything is energy, we know that. Now, this energy has its own pattern and direction of flow through what is described and known as positive and negative energy. I think I got an aha moment from you, okay? So that is polarity. And it is believed that that positive and negative energy can only be balanced when that energy is, or that flow is unobstructed. It flows freely through its energy field, back and forth, to and fro, from its source. Of course, and we can look at what that source is: a spirit, the soul, the heart, your mind. All of those are sources of energy, and they flow on positive and negative. Now, don't get stuck when you hear the word negative. It has nothing to do with being discord or bad. This is an energy like electrical and magnetic, and you need both of them to create magic, if you will. So a lot of people hear the word negative or negative energy and they immediately resort to, oh, this is bad, this is not good. That is not what we're talking about when we're talking about polarity. All right, and that polarity is depicted in this spread. What are those two energies in a state of masculine and feminine? Okay, those are polarities of the human consciousness. The male is the active, and it is the positive energy, okay? And in this spread, this is your male energy right here, okay? Coming down from above to below. The feminine is the receptive, negative energy, And it is depicted here by the circle. Okay, that's and you can see the flow of the energy. And right here, it is unobstructive. Okay, everything is flowing beautifully. So let's continue now. We know that the positive energy, the male energy, exerts. It pushes energy out and through a system or a function. Okay? While the negative, the female polarity, tends to attract, take in, and pulls towards itself. And you may recognize this in another way if I say the Oriental philosophy of yang and yin, okay? That interaction of the Tao, the yang and yin. All right, hopefully you can get a visual now of what we're talking about. So now, so you have that male energy. We're going to look at that positive, active force, and then we're going to look at the negative, receptive force that takes. So we have energy coming in, or energy being pushed out, and then we have the energy coming in through the receptive flow. And we're going to look by what cards we drew from the tarot to see how that flow is. Then you could even take it another step further for those of you who do healing energy work and correlate this with the chakras. Although we're only taking out 6 cards, we can certainly look at the significator as the first and expand that. But the chakra systems also have a polarity of a negative and positive force. And how are they being shown here in the layout? So you can see how this is really an expanded, wonderful spread. Now you see that I have this spiral here, and this is something else that I really want to talk about, because however you depict it, if I put the beginning here of that spiral, that number 1, it spirals out, okay? Which is another way. I mean, the spiral basically is a sacred symbol representing the journey and the changes of life as it unfolds, as we travel the path, the journey. And certainly you can see the symbology of this spiral. So that's another reason why I took that out, to show you that everything comes from its source, and then it just keeps going and going and going, and all energy, like the circle, begins and comes back to itself. It attracts and contracts. Another way to say that is looking at the human energy system and the breath of life, how we inhale and exhale. We take in the breath of life, and then we release the air. And the whole of the universe is this taking in of breath and exaltation of breath. And we all breathe as one, which is what this circle indicates, no matter which way you want to go around it. Lastly, to kind of bring all this together back to the tarot, is the polarity of the suits. Yep. We have 4 suits to the tarot, correct? And we have the ace of, well, we have wands. The 4 suits are, of course, the wands, the swords, the pentacles, and the cups. And these are the purest form. Now, the wands and the swords are your male active energies. The pentacles and the cups are your female receptive energies. And you can depict that by the hand. This hand is active, it is forceful, it is movable. And the feminine receptive suits, pentacles and cups, are receiving, are taking in. You can see that with the hands. So we can also look at the layout of the cards to see where the polarity is. Is there going to be more wands? Is there going to be a greater emphasis of pentacles in those cards that are being laid out, those 6 cards that are being laid out? And from that, we can look at the present moment, if we are pushing out, having a breakthrough, being active, or if we're more inclusive, taking in, functioning and pulling energy towards you. And sometimes we pull energy towards us because we need the energy. We are depleted, and it is a more of a time of reflection, of contemplation, and sometimes letting go. So that is the essence of this particular, what I called circle cross spread, that you can just basically lay out the cards, read them, but you can really dive in a little deeper, as I've tried to lay out here with this image and the symbols of the cards. You can see it a little better here, the cross and the circle cross spread. So let's have some fun. Let's go ahead and do a mock reading, all right? So let me, and I am going to get centered, and I am going to cut the cards because I honor spirit, I respect it, and even though it is a mock reading, I get centered and grounded so that I can give you the best insight, where I use my intuition, and I also use my intellect and marry both of them in order to tap into the energy. So let me go ahead and get a little centered here, a few seconds. I always like to cut the cards 3 times to the left. And we will go ahead and look at card number 1, inner emotional state at the present time. Wow, and we have a page of swords immediately on the first card. You can also do this reading, or I should say lay out the cards, by doing them one at a time, or and kind of evaluating them. If you like to focus in on that energy of what that card, remember again, number 1 is inner emotional state at the present time, and then do the divination of what that card represents. Or you can go ahead and lay out all 6 cards. And what I think I would like to do is lay out all 6 cards, because for those of you who are new to the tarot, I also like to go a little further and show you how to blend the cards through their numbers, through their colors, and through their suits. So let's go ahead and lay out all of these 6 cards, but I will give you the names as I go through them. Card number 2 is the outer state, the source of resistance at the present time. Card number 3, that which I am not aware of, I've rejected, or it is limiting me in some way. Card number 4 is knowledge to apply, or unnecessary baggage. Card number 5 is opportunity. What you are putting out openly and what's on your mind. And then 6 and last, our outcome card. What is gained or the action to take, which will depict if we fail or succeed. All right. So for those of you, again, bear with me, those who are experts and know a lot about the tarot, that I go through these steps. What I usually teach is the first thing you do is evaluate the cards. Immediately, we know that we have 3 major arcana cards. We have the Devil, we have the Lovers, and we have the Tower reverse. We have 2 court cards. We have the Page of Swords and the King of Wands. And of the 4 elements and suits, we have a suit of 2 suits of the sword element, which is the 2 of Swords and the Page of Swords. So, whenever there is more major cards than there are the minor arcana cards, which are labeled, and of course I don't like labels, but they are known to be more of the mundane everyday life, and the more teaching, spiritual, esoteric cards are the major cards, then we would say right now, looking at this, that those 3 major cards are getting our attention. They certainly are getting our attention, especially when we have the Devil and the Tower in our, remember, our active male outward energy going through, penetrating through a system. It is there, it is active. And then the taking in energy, the receptive inflow, if we're going to look at that, we can look this way, and also the circle, we go step by step by beginning from here outward. We see that energy is a little more calmer, more people-oriented, where the energy inwardly surrounds the nucleus, which is probably family relationships. Okay? The next thing we do is we look at the numbers. And of course we have major cards. So the pages are known as the 11th card. They're not numbered, but they come after the 10th card in the minor suits. So the pages are considered number 11. So we have an 11. And we have one number 2. Okay? And the King is the 15th card, if you're going to give it a number, but they're basically court cards. We do have number 15 for the Devil, we have 6 for the Lovers, and we have 16 for the Tower. So we have 15 and 16. We have something here that is in unison, that is in conjunction with, that follows, that proceeds and works in a corresponding way. The other thing that we look at after we look at the numbers is the coloring. And immediately on top of the significator, we continue to keep the energy of the gray, the blueness, but more of a mutual energy that kind of is searching, incorporating, seeking. It's not a red, it's not a bright yellow, where we find that coloring certainly in the 6. So the energy of the client, the represented by the significator, is I want to know. I'm not sure. I'm hesitant. I'm green because at the page level, we're an apprentice. This is where I'm uncertain and I want to take action, but I don't know where to take action because I've had this feeling that my emotions have been blocked to the point where I'm not seeing clearly. And I'm trying to balance them, but sooner or later, this is going to be too much for me. So I'm hoping you can follow me here in my thoughts. So if we look at this from our graft, all right, the unconscious here, the shadow, certainly the devil is saying that what have I not faced about myself and have taken it from my unconscious and have done this in the past, because there's a great similarity with the lovers and the devils, as you can see here. And we could talk for probably an hour on the symbology of why the male and the female go from the lovers to being chained to an energy that is limiting, that is fearful, that has stopped them from enjoying life, that the light around them has dimmed. Okay? So the devil card is really a major area to look at where we have limited ourselves, false beliefs, or what have we done? What have we said? What have we expressed that we feel is no longer part of who we are? We could also say, what have my relationships been like that I fear to expand or express how I feel about not only myself, but the world around me? All right, so we're looking at it that way. Now, card number 4, we said earlier, was knowledge to apply or unnecessary baggage. And the way that we can ream additional information is by looking at the cards below, the cards above it, and the cards next to it. Let's do that for a minute. Let's go ahead and interpret the lovers. We kind of did by looking at it from the card number 3, the unconscious area of our minds. In the past, and the unnecessary baggage, then did we walk away when we felt like we were misunderstood? Did we have difficulty, as I said earlier, communicating? Or was the person that we chose emotionally unavailable? Or was the person that we chose in our relationships overwhelmed with emotions that we, because of our personality, our character traits, could not take? Now, I would say that that is probably far removed, because if we look at the Queen of Cups, she depicts emotions. Her throne sits on a lake or a river of emotions, of feeling, of the unconscious, of subtle energy. So probably what we can say is occurring is the partners that we have chosen, the lovers, were emotionally detached, and this is where we get clarification of that, because the King of Wands is a fiery energy. It is quick. It may burn too hot, because water and fire have to cooperate. They are antagonistic. Now, the best relationships, or I believe our soulmates, are those relationships that are the worst pain in the neck, if you want to understand that, because it is through a acceptance, understanding of our polar opposites that we learn to adjust, forgive, accept, and become part of what is alienating to us. Now, of course, we also I have to throw this in, if the relationship is respectful, not violent, not abusive mentally or physically. But those who seem to give us the hardest times are oftentimes our greatest teachers. But right now, what is being shown is bad. It's not good because of what has happened on the active, outer, aggressive, powerful side. The good news, when we continue, is that, remember what we said about card number 5. There's our opportunity. And the Tower is reverse. If the Tower was upright, I would say, okay, you learned your lesson because you had a major breakthrough. You realized that you couldn't do this anymore, and now your structure, your foundation, your false foundation of what you build your thoughts on, your life on, has been taken away. But because it is reverse, what you are putting out openly in your mind is you are not aware of that you are part of the situation. So understanding this, that there has to be a breaking down. Again, remember, we're in our circle, and our circle is cyclical, and we repeat patterns, and this is what we're taking in. What it is saying as far as our Queen of Cups, our client, is the revelation that her environment has been constructed by some unresolved belief systems, shadows that are being played out, that work hand in hand in creating exactly what is not loving, what is not communicated in a harmonious way, that can make you close your heart up, that can make you feel in darkness, where you're afraid to touch the emotions. So we can tie this all in and say that there was an incident in the Quarren's life that may have been quite dramatic, painful, hurtful, negative, it could have been self-inflicted or inflicted by someone else, that affected and damaged the child within, where there is no trust of love and relationships. And I don't know how to build a happy castle, home, loving, harmonious, where there has been dysfunction in relationships. And we can go on and on and on. But Your client is here and saying, help me right now. That's what it's saying. And the King of Wands in the 6th position, the outcome, what is gained, this is a nicer form, what is gained or action to take, how you may fail or succeed. I would look at that and suggest 2 things. The first one, that possibly she work with her father figure, resolving any issues, separations that she may have had with authority figures, father figures, whether that is a paternal or a stepfather. And then the other thing that I would suggest or ask the client is she afraid of uniting her opposite? Because she is definitely the water, the feminine, the suit of cups, which is the taking in, the receptive, and that her polarity is the King of Wands. If we take away the gender of it and look at the positive energy of the male force, then she has to unite those 2 and make friends. So is she too emotional? Is she an empath? Is she having trouble putting her feet on solid grounds and being grounded? And by these cards, I would say that the tarot is telling her to heal her shadow, to blend in and integrate what she fears about the male energy, that male power, that assertiveness, that speaking out. Remember, a lot of times women are afraid to speak out, to claim, to identify with, to express, even sometimes to set boundaries and make demands. This is what I want, and this is what I have to have in order to feel secure in my life and in my relationships. But she has to be very careful how she defines that. And we can define that in the most harmonious way when we work with the unfinished business of our past that keeps getting played out into the present. Know thyself, know your personality, know how you have your gifts, and know how you have your limits, and balance those out. So that is how I am looking at interpreting these cards today, psychologically, spiritually, so that we gain knowledge, because what is a tarot spread all about but to gain knowledge? So let me lay these down while I close this up for you. Let me push these away so that you can get one more look at the layout of these cards and their meaning. And as always, friends, I welcome your questions. I welcome your comments. I thank you for joining me here today, and I hope to bring you more insights on the tarot in the very near future. Till then, everyone, blessings. Take care. Bye for now.